June 1, 2015. Quirky's once glittering headquarters in New York sat half empty, the lights dimmed, and a final email pinged across the inboxes of its 400-plus employees. "We are shutting down." In a single breath, that message encapsulated a saga that began with a bold promise to turn anyone's sketch on a napkin into a market-ready product, and ended with a cautionary tale about ambition outpacing cash flow. Founded in 2009 by Ben Kaufman, a former child actress turned inventor, Quirky was the brainchild of a generation that believed the internet could democratize invention. The platform invited everyday people to submit ideas, vote on concepts, and collaborate on design, while Quirky's in-house engineers turned the most popular submissions into prototypes. In its first year, a simple Bluetooth-enabled nightlight called the Luna lamp vaulted the fledgling startup into the headlines, raising $2.5 million in seed funding and earning the moniker, the Kickstarter for products. The buzz was intoxicating. By 2011, venture capitalists were lining up, and Quirky closed a $30 million Series C round led by Andreessen Horowitz. The company announced plans to open a 30,000-square-foot innovation lab, where community members could meet engineers, designers, and manufacturers under one roof. The narrative was irresistible. A crowd-sourced R&D engine that could churn out the next iPhone of everyday gadgets, all while the community shared in the royalties. Yet, beneath the hype, warning signs began to flicker. First, the product pipeline was a double-edged sword. For every viral success, like the Pivot Power portable charger that sold 100,000 units in 3 months, there were dozens of flops that never made it past the 3D printed prototype stage. The sheer volume of ideas meant the company was constantly juggling development, tooling, and marketing for products that often appealed to niche sub-communities rather than the mass market. Second, the financial model was fragile. Quirky paid inventors a royalty of up to 5% of net sales, a generous share that made sense only if products hit high volumes. In reality, many items languished on shelves, generating pennies in revenue while the company absorbed the costs of tooling, shipping, and customer service. The burn rate ballooned to over $50 million a year, and cash inflows could not keep pace. Third, internal culture began to strain. Engineers complained that the constant influx of concepts forced them into a perpetual sprint, sacrificing depth for speed. The community-driven voting system, once heralded as democratic, turned into a popularity contest, favoring flashy designs over market viability. As the board pushed for rapid scaling, the product teams grew wary of compromising quality, a tension that manifested in missed deadlines and strained supplier relationships. By early 2014, the cracks widened. Quirky announced a partnership with General Electric to co-develop smart home devices, a move that raised eyebrows. The deal promised access to GE's manufacturing muscle, but it also locked Quirky into a series of high-cost contracts that required upfront tooling fees. When the first GE-backed product, a Wi-Fi-enabled thermostat, failed to meet sales forecasts, Quirky found itself on the hook for millions of dollars in sunk costs. Compounding the issue, the broader market shifted. Crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo matured, offering creators a more direct path to funding without the middleman of a corporate platform. Simultaneously, large retailers began launching their own in-house innovation labs, siphoning away the very manufacturers Quirky relied upon. Investors grew nervous, and in June 2014, Quirky's Series D round fell short of expectations, raising only $15 million against a target of $30 million. The final straw arrived in early 2015, when Quirky announced a $150 million acquisition of the consumer electronics company, Pillow. The move was billed as a strategic expansion into home goods, but the acquisition added a legacy supply chain riddled with inefficiencies and a product line that required extensive redesign. Within weeks, the combined operation was hemorrhaging cash, and the board demanded an emergency cash infusion. On May 25, 2015, Quirky filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, listing $150 million in liabilities against $100 million in assets. The filing revealed that the company had spent $250 million on product development, yet only $70 million in revenue had ever been recognized. The collapse sent ripples through the inventor community. Thousands of hopeful creators found their designs abandoned, prototypes stuck in warehouses, and royalties forever out of reach. In the aftermath, the assets of Quirky were purchased by a private equity firm that rebranded the operation as Quirky Studios, scaling back the open innovation platform and focusing solely on a curated portfolio of high-margin products. The original community forum was shuttered, and many of the engineers and designers moved on to more traditional R&D roles at established tech firms. Ben Kaufman, the charismatic founder, launched a new venture called Coterie, a subscription-based service that promised to learn from Quirky's mistakes by pre-validating ideas before committing to costly tooling. The Quirky saga remains a stark illustration of how a brilliant idea, crowdsourcing invention, can be undermined by unchecked growth, a misaligned financial model, and a market that evolves faster than a startup can adapt. It serves as both an inspiration for anyone who dreams of turning imagination into product, and a warning that even the most innovative platforms need disciplined economics and realistic expectations to survive. Subscribe to The Collapse for more stories like this.